Hey guys, and welcome to my 2020 goals video. Now I thought I'd do this video in front of the Christmas tree because, well, people generally like Christmas. I'm not generally a Christmassy person, I am a Grinch, but I thought I'd do it in front of here because, well, twinkly lights and all the rest of it. But today I thought I'd tell you all about my reading goals for next year, as well as my reading plans for next year in terms of what reading challenges I'm going to be doing, and also my channel goals, because I just felt like telling you guys all of that and making a huge great big video about it, seeing as everybody else is doing their goals videos. I'm going to start this with my channel goals though, because that seems to be the easiest one to start with, because there ain't that many of them, and then I'll go into reading goals and then the reading challenges I'm taking part in next year as well. So in terms of channel goals, I've really only got 4 goals for it. It's nothing to do with subscriber count or anything like that, simply because, quite frankly, I can't control that, to be honest, and I don't want to set myself a goal of saying, oh, I want 300 subscribers by the end of the year or anything like that, because I feel like if I don't get that goal, I then just get really stressed out. So instead, I'm talking about how I'm going to improve my videos and stuff like that. So the first thing I want to do is make an intro and an outro for my channel, because I really love looking at everybody else's and I want to join in with that. I've had plans for it for years now. I did film an intro outro bit, but unfortunately I couldn't use it simply because I was using my phone camera, and it was my old phone camera and it was really rubbish, and then I never got around to actually refilming that with this camera in my new setup, so I just never did it. But I do want to start next year with an intro and an outro, or at least an intro or at least an outro. If I have at least one, I'll be happy, but I want both. I also want to learn to stop waffling so much, because as we all know, I like to talk a bit too much for my own good, so I want to sort of condense that a little bit and maybe have a bit of waffle, but not so much I'm just sort of rambling on for 20 minutes, you know, because I feel like I do that a lot and I just want to sort of condense that down a bit, so A, my videos are shorter so they upload quicker, and B, I don't bore you to death. Another thing I want to do is try and get better lighting and also better camera footage, because quite frankly, my phone camera, I have realised, does really grainy footage. I've just noticed this bit as well is really grainy, which is really annoying, and it doesn't matter what time of year I try to film at or whatever, it's just really grainy no matter what I do. So I've made plans to get a ring light in the Boxing Day sales, as well as a new camera, because at the moment I'm using my phone and it's clearly not working that well. So I also want to get a new camera and a ring light so I can improve the whole lighting situation and the video quality situation. I do have stuff picked out, so fingers crossed they go down in the January sales. If not, I'm still going to get them because I need them. I've just noticed that I've got 2 dots on my face, but never mind, it's there. I'm not going to move now, it's already been here. I'm just going to carry on. Anyway, for my reading goals, I do want to read 60 books next year, because I always set my goal for 60 books, because that feels obtainable to me, because that's just over 1 book a week, which, to be honest, does feel obtainable to me, because I read a lot of graphic novels and a lot of short books, and generally leave the longer books for stuff like tome topple. So I want to be able to read 60 books. Obviously, I'm going to try and go over that, but 60 books is the minimum I want to read. And I don't set it any higher because I don't want to stress myself out too much, but I don't set it any lower because I feel like it's not a challenge. So 60 books is where I'm staying at. As for the content of the books I want to read more novels and less graphic novels. I'm saying this like I'm not going to try and borrow a whole ton of manga from the library, but I do definitely want to read more novels next year. This year has been very much graphic novel based for me, and that's been absolutely amazing. I've bought too many as well to replace the ones I've read. But I've read so many amazing comics this year, and I've loved reading comics. I always love reading comics, but I feel like I've focused a bit too much on them this year. And I want to focus more on reading novels in 2020, because at the moment I've got a whole ton of novels sitting on my shelves collecting dust, and I want to get to them. So next year I want to read more novels compared to graphic novels. I still want to read graphic novels. I want to get into manga, but novels is where I want my main focus to be. As for the content of these books, I want to read more female authors, more disabled authors, more POC authors, and more LGBTQIA+ authors. Because as you can see from this reading chart from my reading log this year, I have read predominantly straight white American men. And quite frankly, that's not good enough for me. It's been like 90% or however percentage it is, it doesn't actually say on there, but it's a large percentage have been straight white American men, and quite frankly I want that to change, because while I have enjoyed all the books I've read, or at least most of the books I've read, I want to read more from more perspectives, because straight white American men are just one perspective in the world, and I want to read more from all other cultures and from female points of view and from POC authors, disabled authors, LGBTQIA+ authors, so I want to get on that as well this year. I'm going to set my goal at least one author a month that is diverse in some way or other. Obviously, I'm going to try and hit more than that, but I'll be happy to start next year with just one diverse author a month and build it up over the next few years, so I'm reading round about 50-50 if I can manage it. I also want to read more sci-fi next year because I feel like I leave a lot of my sci-fi on the shelves and I rarely read it, so I do definitely want to read more sci-fi next year. I also want to use the library more next year because, quite frankly, I have completely discounted my library for the last couple of years simply because they're a tiny library attached to a school, like the primary school in my village, so I just thought they didn't have anything, and every single time I went in there, the only books that they had that I was interested in, I already owned, so I didn't bother really going in there that often. But then I realised that you can actually order in from the main library into our tiny library, so I can read books that way. So what I want to do next year is to borrow all of my manga from the library, because, quite frankly, manga is a very, very expensive hobby and I don't have enough space on my shelves, and quite frankly I'm scared my Kindle app will bust if I put a whole load of manga on there, as well as all the comics and the various Kindle books I've also got on there. So I want to borrow them from the library along with a couple of other authors as well that I'm not really sure about or I just don't want on my shelves. So I'm going to try and use the library more. Then weirdly, in saying all of that, I do want to take a step back from the readathons a little bit and actually stop worrying so much about getting all of the books read all the time and actually try and get other things done, because I feel like this year I've gone into the habit of doing all the readathons and trying to push myself to do all of the prompts and read all of the books. And quite frankly, that is stressing me out no end, and I just get stressed when I don't complete the entire prompt list or whatever. It stresses me out to the point of no return, and it means that I am now just putting off doing stuff like writing my own book and watching stuff that I want to watch and stuff like this because I just want to get all the books done. So what I want to do is take a step back a little bit and give myself some time to read some fan fiction, because I've got 7 pages on my watch later list on AO3 and at least 10 emails, I think, of various fanfic updates that I haven't read, as well as a whole load of recommendations lists saved on Tumblr that I haven't even gone through yet. And I do want to make a dent in that list at the very least next year and play catch up on that. I also want to be able to write again, because I seem to be stepping back from writing so I can do all the reading, and I just generally want to have fun reading again. So I do want to take a little bit of a step back with reading next year. Admittedly, I do have a plan for this because I have made a Bookopoly board for next year. Spoiler alert for next year, but I do have a Bookopoly board that I haven't actually printed out yet, but I've got all the stuff ready for it, so I just need to print it out and stick it on card and then it's ready to go. And on there I do actually have a section that says fan fiction, so if I want to read some damn fan fiction, I can read the damn fan fiction, which is going to be really, really nice, because it means that I'm giving myself permission to read the fan fiction, which I desperately need to do. So I've got a plan for that, and fingers crossed it actually works. And the only other thing I've got to tell you about is the reading challenges I'm doing, because I'm doing 2 of them. I know I just said I'm taking a step back, but I have worked both of these into my Bookopoly board, which you will see at probably the last Monday of the year, possibly the first Friday of 2020. I'm not entirely sure yet. It depends on when the camera comes and when I get time to film and edit and upload, but anyway, the plan is to take part in Turtle Recall, which is the Terry Pratchett challenge, which is to basically read as many Discworld novels as you want to. I'm aiming for 1 to 5, I think, because that feels like an easy number to hit, and I don't want to push myself too hard, and I also want to stretch out, obviously, all the Discworld novels for as long as possible, because quite frankly, there may be 40 of them, but if I try to read like 10 of them a year or something, I'm going to get through them like that, and I don't really want to do that. So I want to stretch them out a bit further, so I'm going to say 1 to 5. And the second challenge I'm doing is the retelling bingo board. I will link these both down below so you can check them out yourselves, but the retellings bingo board is basically a bingo board for fairy tale and general classic stories retellings. And I want to take part in this because I found out about 2019's too late to start taking part in. So I've specifically searched it out, to be honest, and I want to take part next year because, quite frankly, my retellings are gathering dust on my shelves and I'm just not reading them. So I do want to try and read those as well next year. And I have worked this into the Bookopoly board as well, so fingers crossed I'm actually going to hit it on occasion so I can read a few retellings as well. And apart from that, that is all of my channel goals, reading goals, and my reading challenges that I'm taking part in next year. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up. Comment down below with what challenges and reading goals you've got for next year. I'd love to know. I'll also leave a link down below to all my social media if you want to check it out. If you want to see any more of my videos, please click subscribe here, and over here will be the link to my previous video. But until next time, guys, bye.